Hey, hey, hey. Time for another Out of This World episode from rSpace. Dating is hard enough as it is. When you dream of finding love, you might not have imagined dating someone who is capable of cheating on you. Despite your plans, infidelity is more common than we'd like to admit. Today on rSpace, we discuss, is cheating a deal breaker for everybody? Love couldn't conquer all for our first story. Karma came for supper, stayed for dessert. So I don't think I've ever made a post on this forum, mostly tossed my own 2 cents here and there, but I felt this deserved its own post. Feel free to keep reading if you want to hear my story, and if you've ever wondered if karma is a thing, and if our cheating spouses actually ever change. So, as a quick little background, my 43 male spouse, 38 female, had an affair 6 years ago with the husband of my, at the time, coworker. We had all become close friends and partied a lot together. The discovery of the affair and my wayward spouse realization that her affair partner wasn't going to leave his wife threw her into a spiral. Ran away from our home, left me grief-stricken with 2 kids, 7 and 4 at the time, and no way to contact her. Well, a week later she calls me at 5 a.m. crying and begging me to come get her. I do. I had gone on stress leave from work at the time. I end up at a seedy motel picking her up where she had holed up for the week, sleeping with every drug dealer she knew to feed her cocaine habit. This was a new issue. She was a mess. I get her home and call my friend, who is a nurse, to come and check on her. She's in the throes of drug-induced psychosis. Gotta get her to the ER and get her detoxed. I leave my kids with family. Thank God we had just moved to a town to be close to them. Get her to the hospital and stay next to her side for close to 4 days while she's detoxing. I don't know if I even felt a single feeling during this period. Finally, get her home, and she basically spends 3 weeks in bed. I'm pretty much a zombie, doing my best to just make sure the kids are fed and to school and back. Unbeknownst to me, she's still in active communication with her affair partner this time, through all of the things, the Pinterest messaging system. Anyway, her family convinces her she needs to go to rehab, but of course, it can't be any rehab. She decides on a $20,000 a month facility. I refused to pay that, so she conned her grandmother to do it. She ends up there. 1.5 weeks in, she calls me and says she wants a divorce because she has learned that all her actions are my fault. So okay, I'll tell the kids who are already losing their minds that mom isn't coming back. Well, she gets discharged, realizes being on her own is tough, and begs me to come back and then we can fix things. Me looking at 16 years of marriage with someone I truly loved and have 2 beautiful children decides, yeah, let's try. I convinced myself it was the drugs that enabled all this behavior, and now that she's clean, I'll have my wife and mother of my children back. Looking back, this was the one thing I would have done differently. Fast forward 18 months of trying to reconcile. She refuses to put in any work and figures that because I was willing to work on our marriage, that meant that all was forgiven and water under the bridge. As every betrayed spouse knows, that's not how this works. At the 18-month mark, I give up and ask her to leave. She easily agrees. Well, within a week of her moving out, I get a message from her old affair partner's wife that they are communicating again and that he just told her he's leaving her, while they are all on a family vacation in Jamaica no less. So there's marriage number 2 destroyed. I also get to find out that they have been communicating for the length of our reconciliation period. That was just a gut punch. They move in together immediately, and just like that, my children have a stepdad, and his son has a stepmom. Abrupt and jarring don't even begin to describe what it was for all of us. Present time, 4 years later, and the crux of the post. Their relationship has imploded. It was always toxic. He had anger issues, she wants everything her own way, cops would get involved, which would then get me involved because of the kids. Silver lining, the majority of it was never around my kids. They say a few arguments, but that's it. She's now kicked him out because she found out he was seeing some 23-year-old girl behind her back. But not to be outdone, she'd been sleeping with his best friend and is now trying to date him. This, of course, has thrown him right off the ledge, and she's now got a restraining order against him. The cops being called multiple times to her new man's house has caused him to be evicted. I get to sit and watch this all and just shake my head. I'm far enough along that I'm not shouting with glee over this, but I will admit to some petty giddiness. I'm safe and happy. My kids are safe and happy, and the consequences of 6 years of crappy decisions are coming home to roost. We have one reaction from a deleted account. Wow. Just wow. Sorry you went through this. Are you divorced? You need to turn this into a series, man. You ticked off about every box on the crazy meter. The OP responds, oh yeah, divorced 2.5 years now. Forgot to add that her drug shenanigans and then a year off work for her also put us through bankruptcy. I could probably do a full post for every year of the last 6 if I wanted to. Should have documented more. Kudos to you for trying to make it work, OP. That's what loving someone means. Making the decision to let go of a relationship with an addicted partner can be extremely difficult. Never mind finding out that they've been cheating behind your back with someone that you had been close with. One person's addiction can threaten their partner's physical, emotional, and financial health, as well as their professional life. It's important that we do what's best for us. After all, our physical and mental health is at stake. And you did just that. You understood your worth and made an executive decision. You left. It sounds like your ex has a lot of issues that she needs to work out. And maybe addiction was just one piece of the puzzle. I'm so sorry things turned out the way they did, despite all of the patience, compassion, and love that you showed her and put into the relationship. Unfortunately, love can't always conquer all. You deserve all that you put into the world, OP. You deserve so much better than what she could give you. Like you said, you and your kids are safe and happy, and that's what's important. More than anything, here's to a brighter future. What are your thoughts? Would you have worked through the addiction and then the infidelity? Let us know in your thoughts. Our first thought comes from Cadam Entanglement, the Pinterest messaging system. What the cinnamon toast F? Of all the details, this one in particular just really stood out. Like, I've read a lot of crazy details on this sub, but there is something so pernicious about this one. Like, I'm imagining her committing adultery right next to pins of balayage hairstyles and mid-century modern coffee tables. The sheer juxtaposition of these images is like a tragic comedy. Like, it's funny in a really effed up way. And I'm really sorry I'm contemplating the darkness in this as tragic humor. But F, Pinterest? It's like the definition of her being absolutely pathetic. The OP replies, right. It's one tiny detail that I think will always stick with me. Probably always be suspicious of a profile pinner, huh? And don't worry, I see the humor and it is dark, but I can still chuckle at the absurdity of it all. I've relayed the story, in even more detail, verbally before. By typing, it really was a little eye-opening for me. Our next reaction comes from Terser78. The sad reality is your kids know more than they let on. If you know, then they know even more. Her toxicity will affect your kids in their own relationship, sadly, and you'll have to be the one to help pick up the pieces because she's a toxic mess. It's really not fair because her behavior will cause a lifetime of insecurities in your kids, and she still makes no efforts to change and immediately jumps into another toxic relationship. Do your best to help your kids see that their mother isn't a healthy person. It's a difficult lesson for a kid to learn. The OP responds, absolutely. My son is now 12, and he's starting to get pretty exasperated with his mom, but still very, very loyal. Won't say a bad word against her. All I can do is set the best example for my children, and 50% of the time they're with me. Up next, should she stay or should she go? Cheated with coworker. Bear with me, this is long. My 28 female husband, 31 male, and I were married a few years ago, 2018. We do not have any kids. Right after getting married, we started to have a rough patch after starting new jobs, moving in together, and getting married all around the same time. It was a lot of big changes all at once. In mid-2019, he said his coworkers were getting together at his male coworker's house to start having a game night on Thursdays. This didn't bother me, but he would often stay out until midnight to 3 a.m. In early 2020, I started having some health issues and went to the OBGYN. I found out I had chlamydia. I confronted my husband and he swore it wasn't from him. He went and got tested and told me his results were negative. I knew I hadn't done anything with anyone else and was tested every year until we got married. I wanted to believe him so bad that I kind of let it go. COVID hit around this time and he stopped going to his game nights. He also started putting effort into our relationship again and it improved immensely. He went to his female coworker's house in June of 2020. I had a weird feeling about his explanation of where he was going, so I followed him. He saw me and told me he was helping her talk through some things. I let it go. Then, I was cleaning out our bedroom one day in July of 2020 and found his paperwork from his STD appointment. He tested positive for chlamydia and was treated. I kept this to myself and found his tablet. It was connected to his phone and his Google Maps. I looked at his history and saw he was going to his female coworker's house all those Thursday evenings. This was around my birthday. On my birthday, I came home and started packing my bags. My husband stopped me and asked me what was going on. I confronted him and he didn't deny it. He said the game night was at her house, and one night he stayed late and they had sex. They talked about it, said it was a mistake, and moved on. At this point, I'm just so sad and hurt, not even really angry. We went to dinner and then came home and talked. He swore it was a one-time mistake. He knew the mistakes he made and that he wanted to work on our relationship. He inactivated his Snapchat, Facebook, etc. without me asking to show me he wasn't messaging her elsewhere. Our relationship continued to improve and we moved on. He also no longer worked with his coworker. Fast forward to late 2021, I was on his work laptop and I noticed a message from August of 2021 from the coworker he cheated with. It said, "I know you lied about everything and I hope it haunts you." Obviously taken back by this, I reached out to her via Instagram Messenger. She said that they had slept together weekly from late 2019 to early 2020. She didn't deny it was a work game night, but didn't confirm either. He told her he was leaving me and that he said he loved her, etc. He sent me Snapchat messages from May of 2021 to August 2021 between them. He had been turning his Snapchat on every once in a while to message her, once or twice a month. They were mostly her talking about how she wanted to be with him, but it was also him talking about how amazing she was and how he wanted to be with her, but can't because it wouldn't work out. She has 2 kids from 2 separate fathers. I confronted him about this. Side note, my friend saw her on Bumble during this time. His story about only sleeping with her once had never changed. The details are always the same, and he is adamant it was only once. He said that she wouldn't leave him alone when he stopped talking to her in 2020. She would text him, and then I would see the phone bill, get upset, and it would make him upset. He said he just wanted to move on, and she kept bringing it up. So he said he gave in and tried to hurt her, like she was hurting us by not letting go, by messaging her those things and then ignoring her. She said then he went to her house in May of 2021. I looked at his Google timeline and according to that, he did not. He said he would just message her every once in a while to keep hurting her because she wouldn't leave him alone, and also so enough time would go by that hopefully she wouldn't get him in trouble at work. The messages were once or twice a month from what she sent me, but it was clear she thought they were in a relationship. He said he told her in August of 2021, after the message from her, that he was lying about everything and just wanted her to leave him alone. This message was not in the ones she sent me, so I'm not sure if he actually did. He did delete his Snapchat totally, agreed to go to counseling, and has been trying really hard to work through everything. He never gets mad if I get upset and will talk about it and answer any questions I may have. The counselor believes him and his story. She said, hurt people hurt people. I don't know. The whole thing to me is just weird and doesn't make sense. I love him. I just don't know what to do. I'm afraid of leaving and having him actually be telling the truth and throwing away this great guy. Except for this whole situation, he is everything I want in a partner. I'm afraid of staying and having this happen again. I don't know. It was like we were moving forward from the initial cheating. He said he lied for our relationship and was trying to make himself feel better. He broke down when telling me this. I have never seen him that upset. He keeps telling me he is 100% in and that will never happen again. If I bring up wanting to leave, he gets emotional, but says it is my decision and he will support me either way. But he would like me to stay. I just don't know where to go from here. I do feel it is slowly getting better, but is all this hurt worth it? Honestly, OP, is he a great guy if he cheated on you and made all of the choices he did? He gave you chlamydia and then lied about it. He put your health at risk. I don't think people who love us or care for us or who are good people do this to the ones they love. It's going to be hard to move on and repair, but if you both were willing to put in the work, I think it can be done. It will not be busy. Moreover, your happiness, peace of mind, and mental health are important. I think you have to ask yourself if you love him or if you love the person you thought he was, OP. If he can do all that, what else is he capable of doing? If he let the stress of all what happened in 2019 affect him, inevitably leading to him cheating on you, could you trust him when another stressful event comes around? Think long and hard about what you want and what you want from your future. It might even be worth meeting up with this other woman and getting more out of her so you have all the information you need to make a decision. Tell us if you take him back in the comments below. Our first community comment comes from Angel's Play. He's cheating and he's lying to you. You can accept the cheating and move on, or you can leave and be single again. Your choice. I mean, he gave you an STD then lied about it. That would be grounds for me to leave if it were me. But you are not me. I throw men away for much less. It's your marriage, though. Our next thought comes from Nita Reed Designs. I'm having a hard time restraining myself. Please, tell me you aren't this stupid. Tell him you want a lie detector test. Be strong. Realize your worth. Stop wasting your life. You do not get a do-over. Bob Barker Forever wanted to add, he has, present tense because of his 2 times a month snaps, a whole other relationship with his coworker. You even stated that it was clear from the messages you saw that the coworker thought she was in a relationship with your husband. He's gaslighting the hell out of you. For F's sake, he had sex with her more than once. If you need more proof than her words, ask the guys, or their significant others, who were supposedly also there. If they were indeed there, and if so, what time did they usually get home? He's not trying to hurt her, he's stringing her along. You keep swallowing his lies and he has no repercussions other than a few unpleasant conversations. He's saying he'll support you leaving, but hear this now. If you stay, he knows he'll be able to cheat again. Seems to me he's saying that to sound remorseful, but is betting you'll stay. He's seen how he's allowed proof to resurface, and he'll get smarter about hiding it. And he knows if he gets caught, you'll forgive him. Your counselor is getting his contrition act. Yes, hurt people hurt people. He is hurting you, and he will continue to do so. Do not have kids with this person. This will happen again in 5 years and you'll be in this position with a child. Do you want that? He's shown you who he is. Believe him. Edit. I forgot the STD. Get the F out now. He has no regard for you. Thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let us know what you thought of today's content in the comments below. See you next time.